Hello, Gemini. Welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor, and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. Now, tonight we have pulled the Ace of Swords as the card that is it brings in an energy, right? It lets me know, okay, here's maybe kind of what's in the atmosphere. Now, the Ace of Swords is all about, right, the mental, okay, the state of mind, clarity, logical thinking, creative thinking, being innovative, making plans, looking out across the kingdom and being able to perceive things in a way that's going to end up being beneficial to whatever it is that you are setting out to do. Okay, and now so we have the Ace. So this is a very potent energy, right? It's like I like to think of the Ace cards as being like when kids are young and they have a lot of energy, right? I have a 4-year-old, and I'll tell you what, by 6:30 at night, I'm looking at this kid running around, still yelling and having fun and laughing and jumping on our trampoline and, all this kind of stuff. And I think, I wish I was in bed right now. Where do you get all that energy from? Well, that is what the Ace cards feel like to me, right? So we have a bright burst of, mental fortitude, really. So let's go ahead. We're going to, I think I just knocked that a little bit. We're going to spin the thing here. I was trying to explain to my daughter the other day how people call things John in Philly, right? I don't know if you've ever been to Philly or around that area of Pennsylvania, but instead of calling everything thing, I call it thing. Can you go get that thing for me? Oh, I left it on the thing up there. The thing is on the thing is in the thing over there. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about. Well, in Philly, they call things John, right? Jawn. Can you go hand me that John over there, right? And my daughter was like, what are you even talking about, Mom? I don't know. I think it's probably one of the coolest, catch-all words. Okay, let's go ahead. We're going to pick this thing up. And I want to say thank you so much for deciding to click on this reading. It is always such an honor, and it truly is. I'm not just saying that. It is an honor for me to be able to bring these messages to you. Okay, I want to go over here. I want to look at this first. We have S-A-Y, say. That's what I saw first, say. Now, we also have I and a heart. So I almost feel like this is like you have to say I love you. You got to say I love you. You have to utter the word. Say I love, whatever it is, right? Whatever you have love for. I happen to think it might be a person. I don't necessarily think this is romantic, but I do think it has to do with the family. And I'll tell you why. We have a tree right here. You can see the trunk. You can see the top up here. You can also see where there's a hole. Okay. Now, we have another person kind of standing over here. Here's where the head would be. Their arm is extended out. Okay. It almost looks like we have 1, 2 fish swimming around. And we have this kind of repeated motif of stretching your arms out to reach one another. Here's another person. Here's the head. Here's the arm stretched out. Here's another person. Head, arm stretched towards this person. Okay. Now, the trunk of the tree also looks like a person. We have the head here. We have the body here and the legs. So to me, I feel like there has been kind of a fracturing of the family, maybe a splitting up or somebody going off and not coming back, kind of, you know, like you go off to college, you live in a different part of the country or part of the world, and you start to like lose the tethering to your home town or where your family's at or whatever, and you start to feel like, I don't know why I would go back. This is me. I feel this way very much about California. I love California. Don't get me wrong. NorCal through and through. 916, 916, 916, right? But no, I would not go back. You could not drag me back home to live. So I get it. But here's the deal. It feels like this person left to go find their way in the world to make money. Maybe start a job. Maybe they got an offer. It took them to another city. Maybe, like I said, maybe this has to do with, you know, going off to school. Or maybe they met somebody and they got married and they ended up living in, you know, a different region or whatever it is. But it feels like there's somebody missing from the family. I don't think that this is somebody who has passed on, but I feel like, you know, the dynamic is just different. Now, I also feel like there's almost a sense of maybe, I don't think it's like going no contact on purpose. Like they don't, you know, like they're feel estranged from the family or like they don't want anything to do with everybody. I don't think that's it. I almost feel like this is maybe a man, and I'm just going to say it feels masculine to me because I imagine this more with a man than usually a woman, although that is probably somewhat sexist to say this or stereotypical. But I could see a dude going out into the world, starting a life, having a family, and not really ever talking to his family again or anymore. Not his created family, his blood family, or wherever he comes from. And not because he doesn't want to, or he's like, you know, doesn't like them, or they've had some huge problem. I think it's just because a lot of times, and I might be wrong, but I think men often are focused on what's going on right now. What's happening in my life right now? What are the things I have to do and accomplish, my responsibilities, my struggles, my ordeals, all the stuff right now. And if I have extra time or, you know, the desire, any kind of energy left over, then I'll call home. Then I'll, you know, make sure I text the pictures from, you know, the kids' baseball game or, you know, whatever. So I feel like this is probably like a brother, maybe like an aunt or like an uncle or, you know, maybe even like a father figure. I don't know exactly, but I do feel like there's a lot of emphasis on this for you right now. Now, I don't necessarily think that there's something going on particularly, but I do feel like it has a lot to do with mortality, right? We start to get to a point where we're seeing our lives go by so quickly. And we start to realize that sometimes people fall away from our lives, right? Sometimes our friends, our family members, it's like a season, right? They're not going to be there forever. And I think that you are maybe starting to really have this awareness that, like, if I don't put effort into having this connection with this person, they're not going to do it. And I don't think that that is so much about like they're devaluing you so much as they're just not good at communicating or being consistent, right? And so I do feel like this is a thing where you're going to have to be the one to take the lead here and put in the effort. If it is worth retaining this connection for you, Okay? If not, then disregard, right? Who cares? But I do feel like it is. You love this person and you're going to have to put in some work here, right? Now, we also have the letters T and J. T, J. Okay? We also have a moose right here. I don't often get the moose in my readings, but this is one. This is an animal of great stature. We know this. They can be very docile, do their own thing. They're pretty nice. But if you mess with them, this is kind of like the bison. Whenever we get the bison, same kind of thing. If you mess with them or you mess with their family, they're going to stomp you, right? They're going to come at you. And they can be very aggressive. And so I feel like for you, this is kind of like maybe a power animal for you in this cycle that you're in. I don't feel like you're like overly reactive, but I do feel like for whatever reason, you are ready to take up for yourself and to take up for your family. So I want to see what exactly maybe is going on here. So we have the Chariot. We have the Anchor. Making wishes. So I think like so often, and maybe this is like throughout your family, there's this real emphasis on hard work, but kind of almost like work as a escape. I feel like a lot of what you've seen and been around growing up is people who, instead of dealing with whatever's going on, like in the family or in their relationships, in their direct community and stuff, they throw themselves into work. And I think that at times you can do this too. You see the problem, you know probably what you need to do, but instead of giving your time and energy to those things, you go back into work. It's like, okay, well, I'm having a problem with my brother. He is wilding out. His wife is rude. I don't want to hear any of that. I'm just going to focus on the work, right? I'm doing this work. This is what I want to focus on. I don't care about whatever that is, right? That's an example, by the way. I just like to use examples because I think for me, being somebody who's like neurodivergent in multiple ways, like I need to hear like an example of how something would lead up to you feeling a certain way so I can understand exactly what that emotion would be or what that sensation or impression might be. So that's why I kind of do a lot of examples. I know sometimes I get comments and people are like, why do you talk about stuff that's like not related to what you just said? I got what you said. Well, because this is how I communicate. It's what would work for me. I want to do readings that I would listen to, right? And I would listen to that kind of reading, my kind of reading, because I understand. It leads me to a place where I'm like, oh, okay, now I see what they mean about that feeling. I know exactly what that is. So, so I do feel like the work, right? Making money, working on a business, having multiple jobs, you're no stranger to any of this, okay? That being said, I feel like at times it feels like you are stuck. We have the anchor, right? And I feel like at times it's almost kind of like I put all of my eggs into this basket and now it's like my only coping method, or this is where I put everything, and like sometimes I need a break from that, but when I get a break from it, I don't know what to do with myself. And I think this is a big focus for you right now, is figuring out how to cultivate other areas of your life. Because let's be real, you are a Gemini, right? You're all about finding like enriched beauty and learning experiences and just building out different parts of your life. You're not somebody that just focuses on one thing. You have all of these sectors of being. That's what I love about Gemini, is that you are unafraid to be whatever it is you are in that moment. You will be all of the archetypes. You'll be into different aesthetics and different groups of people and different kinds of activities, and you don't care. You're just like all over the place with it, and that's wonderful. I think that's so great. So flexible, flowing, fluid, and that gives you so much more opportunity in life to find things that you enjoy because you're not stuck in a little box. But sometimes, right, we do find ourselves kind of, how did I corner myself here? Well, how did I get into just like trying to maintain this one thing, right? And so let me climb out of this box and let me start to look around and see, like, what else should I be doing with my time? Where else should I be going? What are my new passions gonna be? At least give yourself a little treat in that way. And so the last thing we'll look at here is the dandelion little blowy thing, which is kind of like you blow on it and the little seed pods spread and then you make a wish, right? And so I feel like for you, there's a lot of wanting. And now there's also the action behind it. Okay, instead of just hoping one day I'll have the time to do the things that I want to do. Instead of that, it is, you know what? I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to rearrange the schedule. I'm going to go try to do that thing, right? And be happily surprised, I think, as well. Okay, now we have a little bit of anxiety, it looks like. It seems like there's going to be some kind of anniversary coming up that is not easy for you. I see tears, but it feels cathartic. It feels like you need to release some of the pressure that has been building up. It seems like maybe this is like an anniversary of a breakup, or maybe it was like your wedding anniversary, or this might be like a family member that passed away. It could be their birthday, or, like the day that they did pass away. We also have the number 63 that seems important. We have a phone, and, I believe that this kind of melancholy situation or anniversary actually will maybe be the catalyst for you to be able to reconnect with your family member that we were talking about earlier. It might be that end for you to be able to call or text and kind of get a conversation going. So reach out to your support people, connect where you feel like you are willing to do so. Okay, let's do our 3 lucky numbers. We have number 87, number 96, 87, and 48. 48. Sometimes I'm like, these numbers don't feel super lucky. This is one of the times I'm like, wow, those are they don't feel lucky. But you know what? Sometimes I'm super wrong. Maybe these are the luckiest numbers I've ever seen. Okay, so these are our gratitude affirmation cards. I'm just going to flip through. Here we are, majestic peaks. I am thankful for the exhilaration of mountaintop experience. I view physical triumphs, emotional breakthroughs, and spiritual revelations as magnificent summits in my life's epic journey. Practice. Recall a time you reached a physical, emotional, or spiritual mountaintop. Relive the thrill you feel. All right. Okay, Gemini, I love you. I got to go pick up my daughter. If you want to like, subscribe, or leave a comment, I would love to hear from you. Other than that, we're going to talk in a few days. Please take care of yourself. I love you. I love you. I love you. And good night.